Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at our Rhino Rack Vortex bars with our gutter mount system and of course Vortex bar adapters here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. So these bars are 65 inches long, and what I really like about them, we are seeing a pretty decent overhang here on the side of our Jeep. And what's great, we could actually shift it over, and that's going to allow us to carry a lot of variety of accessories that need an overhang. Well, that's something that's really nice about them too. However, the bars themselves just do an excellent job here. We do have our Vortex bars, so we're getting that aerodynamic shape that we're wanting from these newer bars, of course. And it does come with a pretty decent weight capacity with 165 pounds. I think we're having an A-OK time throwing up almost any accessories we want here on the top of our Gladiator. And to that end, I would just go ahead and check your guys' vehicle's owner's manual guide to make sure we're not exceeding our own weight limit of our roof. Now, the only thing I was able to find that wasn't even really concrete was about 150 pounds, but again, that was on a Jeep Wrangler hard top. So again, let's do our own little research at home, but the big thing is let's be safe and make sure we're not overloading our Gladiator here. But again, we are going to have a very nice bar to start getting anything we want up on here. What I could see people utilizing this for is going to be maybe a J-style kayak carrier, a roof bike. I think some people might also look at putting some of those really cool like Pioneer rack systems from Rhino Rack on here, or Yakima's platform rack systems. Those could be very nice. The only downgrade on that, though, of course, is we are going to be a little limited on our weight capacity, but still nice for like a dry bag or a gas can, something like that. Definitely not going to be too bad. And I just really like this roof rack giving us the options that we want to get almost any accessory on here. So speaking of accessories, we do have a T-slot attachment on these guys, and to go ahead and actually utilize our plastic locking cores, it comes with an included key. Simply turn that to the left to unlock it, then you can pop it out, and now we can see the inside here. Seeing that T-slot attachment right there, great for more modern accessories. Now to that end though, you are going to have these little Vortex strips on here, and you guys can see we actually are going to have to cut these to size for ourselves. So that is one little thing you have to keep in mind, but it's really, really nice that we have that strip to go ahead and start taking out all that whistle that we might be generating with those higher speeds. And to that as well, we do have this nice little H protrusion here, giving us the solid support that we're looking for in the structure of our bar, making sure that even though it is made of aluminum, it's going to be nice and sturdy to actually get us that weight capacity we're looking for. And speaking of that aluminum, it is going to be corrosion resistant just because of that aluminum and that construction, which is excellent. But we do have a pretty nice black powder coat finish on here, making it look pretty darn good, if I don't say so myself, here on our black Gladiator. But you know, these might not always have a black Gladiator. These also come in a silver color as well, allowing you guys to accessorize to your own heart's desire, which is definitely excellent. Now, one thing about the black powder coat that I'll say, or any powder coat, is that it's not going to be super resistant if we're not just a little careful with it. And what I mean by that, if you find yourself throwing up some big old heavy metallic items on here and letting it scratch that rack, you're going to see pits and you're going to see it start to degrade. Now, is it going to rust away on you? No, it is made of aluminum underneath, but let's just make sure we are being just a little bit more careful with it. But again, I think your common accessories, your plastics and all that, not going to be the end of the world. Let's just be careful with those big metal guys, eh? Well, now that we have a pretty good idea of how our bar works and what it's made of, I wanted to see how it's interacting here on the roof of our Gladiator. So from the top of our corrugate to the underside of our bar, that's going to give us our clearance, and that can be pretty important for our accessories that are actually going to clamp around this bar, and that is going to be putting you at about 1.75 inches. Now, it's a little bit above that as well, so you got a little room to work with. And at the very top of that as well, you are seeing about 3 1/8 inches to the very top of our bar. Now, that's just going to be the height that we're adding onto our Gladiator, and that can be pretty important for people with lower garages, making sure we can actually pull this in, and of course making sure we can get to those pesky drive-thrus with no problem. Now, bear in mind, as you add accessories on this roof, it's going to get taller, so of course let's keep that in mind as we add our accessories. Well, overall, it really isn't going to take us too much time to actually get these guys in. The biggest thing is just kind of getting your tower set up and ready. Let's go ahead and see how we get it installed. To begin your installation, what you want to do, just lay out your bars just like so. What we need to do is actually add our towers on. Now, these towers are going to need just a little bit of modification. We are going to need that included Vortex bar adapter bar on the top here of our heavy-duty gutter mounts. Now, what's great about these guys, become really, really easy to slot in though. I actually need to loosen this just a little. That way we have the necessary gap to start setting it here on our bottom channel. Now, this channel also does come with some included pads, and once you have actually found yourself the right point of where your towers are going to sit, we need to actually add that in. And what that's going to do is actually remove the little bit of play and whistle that we're going to find ourselves in here. So you might have to back this off just a little bit more. That way you have that gap that we need. Set that in place, slide it like so. And now we just simply want to hand tighten this up just a little bit. We still want to be able to slide it, but we don't want it falling off and being too loose for ourselves. Now let's of course replace our end cap here. That way it doesn't go sliding out. At this point though, I wouldn't really worry about locking it unless you want to, but that way you have a little easier access if we need to get back into our pad here. Now we simply need to take it and actually begin to set it on the roof of our car. Simply take your bar and walk it across your roof here, gently setting it down on that other side so as to not cause any damage. And once that is resting, we can go ahead, start fitting our foot pad. Can be helpful just to open up your gate here, slot that in. It's going to fall into that gutter on the other side. And then kind of get that ready. Now, where we place this is going to be a little bit up to us. Now, a lot of times your crossbar systems are going to need a minimum distance of about 24 inches. So I'm probably going to go for about 26 here today. And what I've done to set my front bar, I simply took 12 inches from this crack right here in our doors, walked it out, and found that very center of my bar. Again, going to be up to you guys, and depending on what accessories you have at home, where this actually sits on your roof. But for today's purposes, we can just follow along. Now I do need to go ahead, grab myself a tape measure, start getting that distance between my bars, and getting it set on either side. So I got this set to be about 28 inches apart, which is going to be okay. Again, though, let's make sure we are checking with accessories we have at home. That way we are making sure we're getting the right spread for ourselves. Now we need to take our included tool here and just tighten up our plate. So of course, make sure you are even on the other side and simply thread these in. Make sure your pad's all the way in there, nice and secure. That way it holds our towers in place. So now that we have our tower set in place, we still need to secure our bar. Before we do that though, we actually do need to set our overhang. Now, what's great about these guys, again, as you mentioned, we could find ourselves just a little bit more overhang if we wanted. As it stands right now, I got them pretty even, and you can see I have about 3.5 inches on either side of overhang from my tower. Again, I could shift that out and give myself about 6 to 7 inches, and that can be excellent for some of your, side assist loading options for kayak carriers. Something like the Thule Elevator or the Showdown needs that actual overhang. And of course, it's just nice to go ahead and maybe have your bike carriers here on the side. But for today's purposes, I'm going to even it up. An easy way to do that is to bring yourself to the front or rear of your vehicle just to get a good idea of what that overhang is. And then of course, have your handy tape measure once again. Simply take it here on the underside, measure the distance from this pad, do the reverse on the other side, and just even them up. Becomes really easy to set them in place. Now we do need to grab ourselves a 10mm and begin to tighten up. That's going to set it in place and keep our bar from shifting, making it nice and secure. We don't need to go too crazy, just enough to we're getting that good resistance. Of course, let's check it to make sure we're nice and secure. Repeat the process on the other side. We're nice and installed. Now, of course, we are completely installed here. The final last things to do is actually fill in this bottom channel here. You are going to have a couple little strips that you need to cut to size, and that way you can start to plug this hole, and you're not going to have that annoying whistle as that wind starts filling that gap. Another last little step to do, of course, is to add on any accessories you want, and then to simply secure your end caps. That way, your rack stays nice and secure. Overall, guys, I think the Rhino Rack Vortex system here is excellent. I really like the length of the bars on here. Now, we do have some smaller ones as well. The 59 inches fit quite well on here. And if you're not really needing that overhang, that can be a great way of reducing your overhang, especially if you find yourself trying to overland and you're running a lot of brush on the sides of your vehicle. That can be a great way of reducing it. In my mind, though, the more rack you have, the better. That means more room for accessories. And of course, you can go ahead and account for your longer ones that just need a little bit of overhang. I really like the black powder coat finish on here too. Rhino Rack are well known for actually producing pretty quality material. It is going to last us for the years to come, which is excellent. And with that 165 weight capacity, I think we're going to be exceeding what our Gladiator can actually handle, which is great to see. Otherwise though, guys, I think that about does it for our look here today at the Rhino Rack Vortex crossbar, 65 inches long, here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.